What is good, people? Welcome back, or welcome to, depending on how long you've been following me for, and you've probably not even listened to the first ever episodes, the Royal Ramble podcast. The podcast where I will royally ramble. I don't really know where the name came from. I just wanted the name. It's the first thing that came back in 2020, 2021, and I thought it was really cool. So here we are, we're doing it. Now, I must have done 3, 4 episodes previously on this podcast. I deleted them all for good reason, because they were just awful. I couldn't talk to a camera, I couldn't talk to anyone else. It was just like this big interview thing. It was like, okay, and why did you decide to be bodybuilder? And it just wasn't good. It wasn't me. And this is kind of like why I'm on doing a podcast right now, because I want to get myself out there more. And what I mean by that, I think a lot of people that actually know me will understand. I struggle to be myself. I struggle a lot with anxiety. I struggle to talk to people. So I just kind of want to be myself. I kind of want to talk. I want to express myself. I do want to get other people on here as well. I don't want this to just be a solely bodybuilding podcast. I really want to get to know people and get a bit of a deeper dive on people in the industry. Obviously, talk bodybuilding because that's what I do. That's what I'm good at. I'm not good at being a bodybuilder, but I'm good at being a bodybuilding coach. Get information out there, debunk some myths, take the mick out of some people. I don't really know, but I do want to get some people on here, and I've got a list of people already. So yeah, I kind of want to start this episode off. It's probably not going to be too long at all, to be honest. Just talking about myself. I've had a tough year, a really tough year. I've had a tough 18 months. Realistically, it's been very hard. Life has been very challenging at points in time, and it's been a challenge. So I kind of want to talk through things. Those of you, I'm assuming you kind of all follow me because you're on here now, because this podcast is currently nothing special. You probably know what's gone on, or roughly what's gone on. Sorry, I'm going between. I've asked the clients in my group chat to ask some questions. Cool. So, what's gone on in the last year, realistically? So, I started or ended last year, 2023, not wanting to be a bodybuilder. I think I spent probably about 5 months trying to find a way out of bodybuilding, trying to find a way out of doing everything, being so consistent, being a real bodybuilder. And I really found myself lost, because I found if I tried to leave, I wouldn't get clients, I wouldn't be myself. Just everything would change. Everything would change. Everything wouldn't work in my favor. And I'd put this goal of stepping on stage in my head for many, many years, probably from 2020. And I just thought, I just fell out of love with bodybuilding, or what I thought. I thought I fell out of love. I thought I was doing it for the wrong reasons, and I kind of was. And I was obviously being coached by Christian at the time, and I was having conversations with people. Some had just stepped on stage, and I was just like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? So after a lot of consideration and lots of thoughts about being scared of doing it, I kind of just semi-outed myself, more so to the people that I love and care about, and said, I'm not bodybuilding anymore. Just not doing it. Just don't want to do it. And then as soon as I said that, I just had this relief. But at the same time, I had this want to bodybuild. It was so strange. I felt so good. I just felt like I could be myself. I didn't have to blow it out there and say I was being, a hybrid athlete or anything like that. I was still bodybuilding. And I think this is what happened. Like, nothing changed. I just said I wasn't a bodybuilder. I just said I wasn't going to bodybuild and step on stage. And then all this pressure went, and I realised, actually, probably like 3 weeks later, nothing's changed. I'm still going to eat the same meals. I'm still going to train the same way. I'm still going to do everything as I already am. I've just suddenly got rid of this label. And I put, I made a deeper dive in terms of just how things are, and I just came to the realization that people step on stage because they feel they need to, because everyone does it these days. Everyone does it these days, whether they look good or bad or whatever, whoever they are. Everyone seems to be stepping on stage, and more people are falling out of love with bodybuilding, equally as much as more people are falling in love with bodybuilding. So yeah, as soon as I'd said I didn't want to bodybuild, I wanted to bodybuild. I wanted to step on stage again. And literally, I'd probably say 4 weeks after that, I went on holiday. I went to Turkey. Big up the Turkey Massive. Came back, messaged Christian, joined back up with Christian after like 3 weeks of stopping, and said, "How do you feel about prepping? How do you think about stepping on stage in May?" So it was December at the time, or November, end of November at the time. So I had 4 weeks left. Tried to do a diet, was eating like 2,000 calories, so it wasn't really good at all. And Christian said, "Let's do it." He was like, "Just so you know, you don't have to step on stage." AKA, you probably shouldn't step on stage. You don't look too good. It's not going to go too well. And I was on the same page as him, but I just felt like it'd been 5 years. I felt like I had to prove to myself that I could do it after having these thoughts of wanting to do it. So I did. January comes around. I'm prepping. I'm officially prepping for the first time ever in my life. Wanted to keep it quiet. I kept it quiet for about 2 weeks. Realised I actually wanted the pressure. I'm someone that thrives in pressure. I'm someone that doesn't like to let people down. I just hate letting people down. So I didn't let people down. 20 weeks of prep. 37 pounds. 37 pounds off. I went from 194 pounds, 195 pounds from my peak. Stood on stage at 156 at my lowest. No, my lowest ever was 155. I think on stage I was like 100, 156, 157. So it was something like 37 pounds. That's probably completely wrong. I think it was 37 pounds, something like that. Came third, first timers 3 PCA. It was one of the best days of my life. Stepping on stage was honestly one of the best days of my life. And I said that a few times the first day, the first week, and I actually felt really guilty for saying that. I thought, what has my life come to where one of the best days of my life is standing on stage with other teenagers and youngsters, because I was a junior at the time, tanned in a purple pants, right? I was like, that's just so strange. I can't say that. And I sat down and kind of thought to myself, because I was actually beating myself up about it, being like, what is my life if that's the best thing? And I actually just fully came to terms with it. It was so good. It was so good. There was no nerves. There was nothing. I remember waking up that day, taking the pictures. I lost 6 pounds of water weight overnight. Went from 160 to 100. No, I went from 161 to 155, 156 pounds on the day. And I was just so confident. I saw Christian. He walked around the corner and he was like, "Mate, you just look so happy, so confident. You look like you're in your element. There was no stress at all." And he was right. I felt it. And I was kind of like eyed up the competition. Wasn't sure if I'd be first or second. The guy that won, Joe Curl, shout out Joe if you're watching this. Phenomenal. Natural athlete. I was the only non-natty, which kind of puts into perspective bodybuilding and how much of a genetics and, you know, like how I don't even know how to say it. Like it just puts into perspective that so many people just assume you're on, your assist and all that kind of stuff, and natties you can't get very far. I came third. There was 5 people in my class. I came third. 2 below me were, so 5th and 4th I think were like 19 and 20. Bear in mind I was 2 days off of being not a junior. That's why I did that show. The oldest, the only one taking anabolics, and came third. Second place, Harry I think, came out of nowhere. Didn't expect him, and people said similar. Harry, if you're watching this, hello, hope you're good. I thought I'd come second at the time until I'd looked at the footage. Where I was stood on the stage, I was like, oh, I'm second, and then I realised, because I'm used to watching the shows rather than being on stage, it was obviously the opposite way around. But came third, and honestly, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I didn't care. I was so happy, I was so content. Those of you that were there and those of you that saw the videos, I just bawled my eyes out. I get emotional thinking about it. It was just such an accomplishment. I had been filled with doubt. Whoa, emotion. I had been filled with doubt. I had been filled with people thinking I couldn't do it. I didn't think I could do it. Christian didn't think I'd look as good as I did. So many people didn't think I'd look as I did. From being the underdog, from being the person that wouldn't get anywhere, shouldn't be in sport, all this kind of stuff, all the reasons why. And I did it. 20 weeks of prep. Looked as good as I did, because I did look good. I don't care. I looked good. I was very happy with the package I bought. Could have been better, of course, but first timers, third place, buzzing with it. Really good. Um, and then like from there, it kind of spiraled. It kind of spiraled. Um, I felt good. Post show went so much better than I thought. I didn't slip up one bit. I was fully convinced I'd be 50, 60 pounds up post show and just eat everything. And that's what I told myself. And because I'd found like another reason why I stood on stage is because I thought it'd be the only time. And in hindsight, it probably might be the only time, which I'll kind of go through. But I thought it'd be the only time. I thought I need to do this because I'm going to hate it and I'm never going to do it again. And I found this love for bodybuilding more so than I'd ever had. I loved the day, and I thought I want to come back bigger, better, all that kind of stuff. So I didn't miss a beat. I didn't miss a beat, and I mean those of you that follow me can see the pictures of me just constantly growing. Right, so it went good, but the mindset was kind of all over the place a little bit. As post show is the hardest thing. Post diet, post show, post being in a deficit is like the hardest part, right? Because line starts to disappear. I had 20 weeks of pure emotion towards this goal, and then suddenly the goal's gone. Line starts to disappear. You start to look visually worse for Instagram. Likes go down. People stop commenting. People stop following things, and it's very apparent that happens. And then you're just meaningless again, or so it seems. And I went from being 156 pounds to then really good blood work post show. Within 5 weeks, I had done the health phase. I don't really think you can say health phase is 5 weeks, but we did it. I didn't need to be on for much less than that. Sorry, much more than that. Anabolics back up. The biggest I've ever been, the strongest I've ever been. Visually, the best I've ever been, without a doubt. And I started to look like a real bodybuilder, and I was really looking forward to things. And probably about 10 weeks post show, things just started getting worse physically in terms of, apart from the physique. My lungs started to get really worse. I started to get chest pains, heart pains. Right, it was heart pains, and I kind of just swept it under, let it happen. Was like, I'll be fine. I'll get better. I went from taking for those of you that have asthma, I've had asthma all my life. My blue inhaler will last me like a year. At its worst, my lungs were getting worse and worse and worse. I did 3 blue inhalers, 3 Ventolin or whatever you want to call them, Salamol inhalers in 10 days. Now those inhalers are like 200 puffs, which is mad. So I was full-time inhaler user, really bad. Then after about 2 weeks of not being able to do anything, literally nothing, I had 5 weeks off of the gym completely. Literally sat on the sofa, in the corner of the sofa, doing nothing all day because that's all I could do. That's all I could do. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't go for a walk, couldn't train, and watching myself deteriorate, going from the biggest, best, strongest to a natty boy, no coach because it was just pointless having a coach because I couldn't do anything. I dropped 20 pounds at the most. The highest weight loss was 20 pounds. You can imagine how that looked, and I got some pictures, and I'll probably put them around there somewhere, but it wasn't good. Things did not look good, Brev. Really bad. It was finally after probably the fourth or fifth week of not being able to do anything that I went to hospital. Summer went out for a walk. We just watched a film, and I went to go upstairs to go to the toilet, and I made it about 5 steps. Bear in mind, to walk to the stairs from the sofa is probably 10 steps, and then the 5 steps up the stairs, and it was literally like couldn't breathe, and I just kind of sat down, and in my head I was like, it's gonna get better, it's fine, like, don't worry about it. And then it didn't. It did not get better. So I messaged someone. I was like, I think I'm gonna call 111. I think I'm gonna call the NHS. Called the NHS. Was then, it must have been about 2 o'clock. They said come in at 7 o'clock. If things get worse, let us know. So wait till 7 o'clock. Had my inhaler. Was puffing it all the time. Got in and said, look, you said if it gets worse, let me know. I went from the car park to the reception, which was 20 steps, couldn't breathe. They put me in, they did blood pressure. My blood pressure was like 195 over 100. My beats per minute was 130, so my resting heart rate was 130. They then did an ECG on me, and so on and so on and so on. They then put me straight to A&E. Within 15-20 minutes of being in A&E, I was on a bed, was there overnight on oxygen, nebulizers, all that kind of stuff. And still to this day, we don't really know what the issue is. I had multiple doctors. You guys probably know what the NHS are like, the free health service. It's free, and I'm granted. I'm so grateful it's there and it's free. I finally got, I finally got use of my tax bill because the potholes don't get fixed. But that's the way I look at it. I must have been seen about 4 or 5 doctors. Some doctors said asthma. Some doctors said pneumonia. Some doctors said pneumonitis. Some doctors said both. But the outcome they came to is the heart of a 6-year-old, left ventricular hypertrophy, stage 1 diastolic dysfunction, so left ventricular hypertrophy essentially, and the lungs of an 80-year-old at the time. They're not the 80-year-old lungs anymore. They're probably still not the best because of asthma and all that kind of stuff. But my blood oxygen was like, I think they said it needs to be 98 and above, so it needs to be 98, 99, 100 at my age, and I had the blood oxygen of an 80-year-old, and it was like 89 through to 92, 93. So yeah, it wasn't good. It was not good. Anyway, that all happens. That what went on. A week later, I was back. A week and a half later, I had my first gym session back. I've now been training for, that was the 1st of October. It's now, as I record this, right this second, it's now Thursday the 12th of December, 9:57. I've been training now for 6 weeks, 4 weeks fully intense, getting back into the things. The split is upper lower 4 times a week, and it's honestly the best I've ever felt in terms of training, in terms of progressions. Obviously, because it's like newbie gains again, having 6 weeks total off, doing absolutely nothing, not even steps. It feels amazing. But I also just have come to conclusions and come to the terms that a 4-day split for me just is what I need. I've tried 5 days, I've tried 6. 4 right now seems to be the best. The progressions are the best they've ever been. I'm at the point now where I'm close to all-time strength. I know I'm not very strong, but I'm close to all-time strength, and I'm still progressing, and it's feeling really good. And because I'm resting so much, I'm training so much harder, progressing so much more, I'm needing that rest. So yeah, it's been an eventful time. During that time, that's not even like the mindset, as you can imagine, going from my best ever, from my worst to my best to my worst, beyond my worst, was a massive head fuck. Didn't know, I felt like I couldn't coach. I went through quite a depressive state. I'm not going to say I had depression, I don't want to label that, but let's just get up some notes. I had this one time where my anxiety in the gym was so high, I had to leave the gym in 15 minutes. I got on the treadmill, realised I was very anxious because I hadn't been in the gym for so long. I felt like I couldn't be there because I wasn't strong, I couldn't do anything, I just didn't feel like myself. Within 20 minutes I walked out crying, just trying to hide it somehow. Walked out crying, sobbed all the way home. When I was home, I must have literally, it's probably the worst I've ever cried, for about an hour. And no one knows this. Only Summer and like 2 other people, maybe one other person knows this. So I'm going to try and find the notes and just give you a little bit of an insight, because this is what I want. Like I said, I want this podcast to be a bit of an insight, a deeper insight into people. So here we go. I feel like I don't belong. I feel like I don't belong in my body, in the gym, in my clothes, in my job. I don't feel comfortable. I've worn the same clothes over and over and over more than a year. Some clothes more than 2 years. It stinks. I've shrunk and I don't fill it out like I did. I feel like I can't wear it and I can't afford something new without it worrying me about money. This was not very long ago. Times have been tough, for a lot of you as well. Cost of living, all that kind of stuff. Things were tough, and I thought, they're so much better now, but at the time I just thought there was no way out, as you kind of do. I didn't want to wake up in the morning, all that kind of stuff. And I might break this down a little bit more, this next thing. But I struggle a lot, like I said, with social anxiety. I really do. I'm trying to get tested for autism to kind of help me. I don't feel like I need a label, but I think it's going to help me process things a bit more and understand things. Why? Because I really get in my head about it. And a lot of you will be like, mate, you don't have autism. There's lots of things that happen, and that after talking to people with autism, like actually have autism, it makes complete sense. So I'm so aware that I don't talk to people, but I just can't do it. I try so hard and I beat myself up about it. I walk in the gym and I just think everyone hates me because I've been there a year, 5 times a week, and never spoken to anyone. I think they assume I'm a prick and I'm rude when really I'm just too scared to talk to people. When I do have a conversation, it drains me so much, so I'm scared to talk. I don't want to talk. But at the same time, I do want to talk. I can't train. I can't train hard, so I feel judged. I can't train heavy, so I feel judged. I can't be who I want to be. I know I will be able to, but it's when. It's the unknown. That's what hurts me every day. We'll leave it at that. But there's if you're watching and you're not an audio listener, there's lots of stuff on there. And yeah, it was tough. Very mentally drained. Couldn't find a way out. And now I'm thriving. As you can probably tell, I'm doing a podcast. I want YouTube to come back. I'm speaking to people. I made a conscious effort to talk to one new person per week in the gym or somewhere. And I have slacked on that a little bit more. But within the first 3 or 4 weeks, I spoke to like 6 people. That's double the people I was talking to. And generally, when I say I've been at EP now, we moved up to Manchester last September. I have spoken to no more than 5 or 6 people in that gym. That gym has like 600, 700 members. That's how hard it is. And I'd say hi and that'd be it. Like a lot of the time I don't even say hi. Those of you that are at EP or know me from elsewhere, the grow room or anything like that, headphones are on, I look down. I bring on this persona and this facade of don't talk to me because I'm a really bad person, because then you don't talk to me and I don't have to go through that social anxiety, and I'm not having it anymore. Yeah, that was a royal ramble. I'm going to leave it at that, I think. I've got to go and train. This was very ad hoc. I literally decided about 30 minutes ago, 10 minutes before, I'm going to film right now. I'm going to do it because I've been toying with the idea for ages. And last night I was thinking about it, who I'm going to get on, what questions I'm going to ask, how I want to do it. And like I said, I don't want it to be a massive bodybuilding podcast. Obviously, I'm going to bring on bodybuilders, but I do want it to be quite wide in terms of things. I do have some questions from the boys, from the lads, from the clients. So I'm going to answer a few of them. And I'll save some as well, I think. So, David Ward, Mr. Reliant Supplements, Ethan 10. Sticky toffee pudding or mince pie? Without a doubt, mince pies. Mince pies should be an English delicacy. They probably are actually, aren't they? You should be able to have mince pies year round. Mince pies may be the best dessert. Sticky toffee pudding is probably a close second or third. Mince pies, for sure. Bailey, Beb, big up Beb. When are we seeing a return of your long, luscious hair? If you are a visual watcher, you can see that hair is not coming back. The hair is not coming back. I'd love it to come back, and as you can see, it is quite long. I haven't had a haircut in 3 weeks, but you can see where it grows. Sorry, the audio listeners. It's just not good. I've got 2 cow's licks. Comes across here. I've got just an awful. Every barber I've ever had has said, Jesus Christ, your hair is so hard to cut. Legit. Like, that's not even a joke. They hate cutting my hair. Aaron, if you're watching this, sorry for having such bad hair. That's my barber. Nick Clark, advice for people trying to turn pro, asking for a friend. Trying to turn pro, be with a good coach. Be honest with yourself, be realistic with yourself. Can you even turn pro? A lot of people can't. A lot of people won't. I'm not going to turn pro. I can't turn pro. And I also don't want to turn pro. It takes a long time. We are in the day and age now where people will do their first show, they'll win their class, they'll win the show, they'll win an overall, and then before you know it, they've won a pro card. That is they are so far away from us genetically, and that is 1 out of 50,000 people that's done that. It takes a long time. It takes, for some people, some people that turned pro last year, it took them 20 shows to do that. 20 shows, like in terms of not just their whole career, 20 shows of trying to become a pro. It's hard. Yeah, advice trying to turn a pro. Understand the risk you're going to have to take in terms of anabolics. Understand the life you're going to have to live. But enjoy life at the same time. I won't go on that too much. Maybe I'll save that for another podcast. Advice trying to turn pro. I think I will. I'll use that for another one. Why are we seeing a growing trend of people using EQ and a 19 NOR at the beginning of a growth phase? Mr. Ward, David Ward, Mr. Reliance Supplements. History always repeats itself. We've gone through, and we're still going through a stage of smash drugs, safer use. Actually, safer use, but take this. Ultimately, people do what works for other people, right? Might not work for them, they might not know why, but they see people grow. EQ is a very kind of old school drug. I see benefit towards using EQ, and I will be using EQ on a client, and I can say it's probably the first client I've used EQ on, because I don't like to use it, but there's rationale behind it. Is EQ safe? No, but no anabolic is safe. You know, there's rationales for and against it. I get why people use it. I get why most people don't use it. Wouldn't recommend using it, but like I said, I will be trying it on a client soon for reasons that don't need to be explained, but there is a reason. That's very good. 19 Nors, don't really know, to be honest. I don't really know. From my experience with 19 Nors, yeah, I don't think I could ever use them again. I was awful. My mindset was awful. I don't think you need to use 19 Nors. MPP, I don't think many people get on with at all. If you were to use a 19 Nor in a gaining phase, I'd probably favour MPP unless you're trialling trend for the first time, like as a like the last gaining phase before a prep, and you want to see, right, does this client get on with it? Fantastic. I don't see why not. If you're going to do that, 50, 100 milligrams at the most. Unless you're very, very, very heavily muscled, and even then, I still don't think you need to. So yeah, why are people doing it? Because it works, because they feel amazing in the gym. 19 Nors, those of you that are taking it, will feel absolutely amazing in the gym. So what, an hour and a half of your day, 2 hours of the day, you get outside of the gym, the other 22 hours of your day, you feel awful. You want to kick everything. You want to stab everyone. You want to... You just hate the world and everything around you. What else have we got? How to balance... This will be the last one. Nick Clark again. How to balance a 9 to 5 with bodybuilding. A lot of this comes down to how big is the goal. What do you want from being a bodybuilder? If you, which you do, Nick, want to be the best bodybuilder possible, it's going to be very hard, but you can definitely do it. If you want it enough, I have clients that do it. A prime example, not my client, Joe Brightman, turned pro, doing 9 to 5. Yes, he's got good genetics, but the same principles are there. You must prepare everything. Fail to prepare, prepare to fail is the saying, right? You have to have the meals done. You know, Sunday night, make meals for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, put them in the freezer, get them out. Or for the whole week, put them in the freezer, get them out. You have to understand when you're going to train, what you can do, what you can't do. You just need to balance out your week. In fact, you don't even need to balance out your week. It's just work, bodybuilding, sleep. Work, eat, bodybuilding, sleep. That's it. It's just repeat, 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 repeat. That's how it is. You have to be prepared to live a life. I would say that a live a life you don't want to live, but it's a live a life you want to live, because if you want to be a pro, that's the life you want to live and the life you need to live. It's not going to be fun. I think that's something that people always forget as well. The people that are, most of the people that are, you know, that 0.000% of the person that are turning up to shows for a first timer and then winning their class, winning the overall, then winning winning their pro card and doing very well. They probably are online coaches and they live and breathe bodybuilding. They probably got 20, 30 clients and they check in, you know, they do an hour of check-ins every other day or so. That's done, and then they can eat, they can go to the train, they can sleep properly, they can do everything perfectly. That's how they do it. Otherwise, if it's 9 to 5, push back that pro card another couple of years longer than it's already going to be, because it's going to be a lot harder, there's going to be a lot more stress. You just got to be realistic with yourself. But yeah, that's it. Episode 1 done. I have spoken by myself for 30 minutes. I am incredibly proud of that. I'm hoping this is going to be able to go on YouTube. It's going to be able to go on Apple and all the other podcast stuff. I'm using Riverside now. I'm then going to put it on Podbean, because that uploads everywhere, I think. If there's any better things, please let me know. Please help me, because I don't want to pay for Riverside, but I'm going to have to if this is the way. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to answer any questions for the next one, look out for stories. If you want any particular people on, maybe you want to understand them more on a deeper personal level, please let me know. Please message me. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully this has either made cardio, walking, or just eating food, or whatever you're doing at this period of time, so much better. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace and love. Peace and love.